external or security risk and community resistance occasionally arise due to misinformation about health, safety, or environmental impacts. Meron din po kasi kaming instances where there are local insurgents. And yun po. Second is request for rerouting of transmission lines. Rerouting requests are made by landowners, LGUs, or developers seeking to alter the originally determined alignment of transmission lines. These are often given by land use conflicts, planned developments, or aesthetic concerns. Rerouting significantly increases the project cost and implementation time, and in many cases, rerouting is requested after road acquisition or construction has already begun, causing severe disruptions.
There were original clearances, so they changed their mind, or they never knew. What is it?
Hindi po. After the route has been determined, Your Honor, and
Clearance is sought.
on
You
Ju-
don't get the clearance.
yes po, kasi we have to engage na with the landowner.
Yeah. So some natatagalan doon.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor. For instance, Your Honor, with TIEZA, Your Honor, for the MVIP, meron na kasi silang land use naisip na ng paggagamitan ng land. So yung mga ganong ano po. Third is row acquisition issues. Row acquisition remains one of the most persistent bottlenecks in power transmission projects. Challenges include disputes over land valuation, resistance from property owners, or lack of ownership documents. Insofar as filing of expropriation cases, the issuance of WOP, or the writ of possession by courts, is quite a challenge. The issuance of WOP was supposed to be ministerial as long as the provisional deposit is paid. But with the 2023 Supreme Court decision in the Iloilo grain case, where the Supreme Court requires the ERC approval of projects prior to filing of expropriation cases, several WOPs that were already issued were recalled by courts. And another challenge is when courts issue TRO against NGCP when WOP is already issued. So this stretches the project's implementation timeline. Fourth is the protracted permitting process. NGCP transmission projects require numerous permits from both national and local agencies. Projects can require over 20 permits and clearances from multiple agencies such as DENR, DA, NPC, LLDA, DAR, NIA, CAAP, DPWH, NCIP, and other LGUs, and each with its own processing timeline and requirements. Permitting delays can extend the project completion by several years, leading to congestion in the transmission network and deferred integration of new generation capacity. Finally, Your Honor, regulatory approvals. Transmission projects are subject to regulatory oversight by the ERC to approve CapEx, rate adjustments, and project implementation schedules. NGCP is hopeful that with the recent implementation of EBOS for the CapEx application, the Supreme Court 2023 ruling in NGCP versus Iloilo Grain Complex Corporation, where NGCP was prohibited to file expropriation case for transmission projects not yet approved by the ERC, will be adequately addressed. In conclusion, addressing these challenges require a whole-of-government approach to align timelines and locations for generation development and transmission expansion. A whole-of-government approach is essential in harmonizing national and local mandates and ensuring that regulatory and administrative frameworks support, not hinder, the achievement of EPIRA's objectives. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So let's go now to Transco, Ms. Donna Calazo Aleria.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Senate, ladies and gentlemen. The committee asked us to present our assessment on NGCP's compliance with its franchise and concession. So next slide, please. This slide presents the framework that defines the relationship of Transco, PISAM, and NGCP. Next slide, please. So based on section 7.03 and 10.01 of the concession agreement, Transco is tasked to monitor and assess the performance of NGCP. And this oversight function is carried out through a joint mechanism between Transco, and PSAM, known as the Technical, Regulatory, Financial, and Legal Assessment Team, which was established in 2010. The TR Flat report is transmitted to NGCP for its compliance and corrective actions, and copies are also furnished to the Department of Energy, Energy Regulatory Commission, Department of Finance, and the Joint Congressional Energy Commission. Next slide, please. So for the 2024 TR Flat, 68 out of 82 provisions of the concession agreement were found either non-compliant or unassessed, mainly due to Transco and PSAM's lack of access to NGCP's books and records beyond financial and asset-related matters. The enumeration on the right are the key unresolved findings from the previous years. Note that findings 1, 2, and 4 are already addressed in the arbitration with NGCP. Next slide, please. Moving on the project implementation, as of August 2025, out of 249 projects, about 56.63% or 141 projects did not meet their target completion dates. Of these 100 projects were completed beyond their approved timelines, while 41 projects remain ongoing but are already delayed past their approved completion periods. Next slide, please. For that reason, our recommendations are the following. Transco recommends that it should be enforced the implementation of the Department of Energy's order on the constituted performance assessment and audit team, so that this interagency body, which was created to objectively assess NGCP's compliance with its obligations as transmission network provider and system operator under the concession agreement and EPIRA. However, NGCP has not allowed the conduct of the audit, limiting government oversight and validation of its reported performance. Transco recommends that the DOE and the Senate and Committee on Energy reinforce this department order and direct NGCP's full cooperation with the PAAT TNPSO. And given the persistent compliance issues and the strategic importance of transmission operations to national security, Transco reiterates that system operations should return to government management and oversight. That's the last slide, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, give me a second. I'm digesting your presentation. If my colleagues want to ask anything, go ahead, because I need 2 minutes to run through your tables.
Madam Chair, I think we have to hear an initial reaction from NGCP.
Yeah, that's a good. I was trying to get more specific.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just recently, 21 October 2025, NGCP sent a letter to Transco President as well as PSAM President, subject being the joint PSAM and Transco assessment on NGCP's compliance with the concession agreement covering calendar year 2024. Let me just read the three main topics of that response. First, NGCP has been compliant with the provisions of the concession agreement has fulfilled its obligations as the concessionaire of the transmission assets and facilities. NGCP maintains its position that the scope and coverage of the inspection of books and records under Section 10.01 of the concession agreement merely extends only to financial books and records relating to the history and conditions of the transmission assets. PSAM and Transco's right to access to NGCP's books and records is solely for the purpose of checking NGCP's compliance with its obligation under the concession agreement. Second, NGCP reiterates its responses to Transco's recurring findings of alleged violation of certain provisions of the concession agreement, which have already been addressed and responded to by NGCP. And these items, Your Honor, are enumerated, listed in the letter. We can provide you, Your Honor.
Okay,
We can
thank you.
provide you. And third, as to the results of the assessment on compliances of the provisions of the concession agreement in their Annex A, the letter responding to, we have our detailed responses, Your Honor. And that also NGCP provided the response in line with the arbitration ruling regarding Transco's land-related capex and operating expenses for right-of-way, also enumerated, Your Honor. So essentially, Your Honor, what we're stating is that we have extensively responded to the allegations insofar as compliances of NGCP to the concession agreement, Your Honor. So we will provide the committee, Your Honor, with this letter. Thank you, Your Honor.
Particularly, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, the alleged refusal to allow Transco and PISAM to inspect new transmission projects. How is that?
Your Honor, our position is that if it is still in the construction or implementation stage, it is not yet a transmission asset because, Your Honor, the same has not been transferred to NGCP. It's the site, Your Honor, is under the construction site is under the control of the contractor, the ones that have been contracted. So insofar as there's safety concerns, since it's a construction site, Your Honor, we cannot we cannot assure, and that basically that's it, Your Honor. It's not yet a construction asset. It's not yet a transmission asset.
So, Madam Chair, it seems that that is a reasonable justification.
Especially in light of the fact, Your Honor, that even if these projects are not completed, we are already, the rates are already being collected for this ongoing transmission.
That doesn't give you the right to inspect on the basis of her answer, because ang may control nga yung mga contractors pa eh. She's talking about security and safety measures. So bakit hindi nyo hintayin na matapos nga naman ang project?
Your Honor, because for us, it's our interpretation that even inspecting these ongoing transmission projects is already performance of NGCP of its obligations.
Has that been
under the-
explicitly indicated in the
in the concession agreement?
Concession
sir.
agreement?
It says, sir, that
because you're supposed to be interpreting it.
yes,
So parang
and I
could be
under-
their understanding
yes,
against your
Mr. Chair.
reading of the context of the concession agreement. So
Yes, sir.
tingnan yung mabuti para siguro hindi tayo nagtatagal dyan.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And we understand also, Mr. Chair, that if there are problems with the, Madam Chair, with the provisions of the concession agreement, that the parties would negotiate on how to better go forward with these conflicting provisions without going to dispute resolution, Mr. Chair. Madam Chair.
So, on the same topic, the reason we're even having this discussion is because of the high rate of non-complied projects, right? That's why we're having this discussion, because in your presentation on the TRF-LAT assessment on the compliance of NGCP, there are more projects that are not complied with than those complied with. And then there's even more that have no basis to assess the compliance. That is the reason you want to inspect, correct? Partly the reason you want to inspect?
Because
Or that's something
Madam
else?
Chair, the way it's written, the concession agreement states that Transco and PSAM should be able to monitor the performance of NGCP with its obligations under the concession agreement. And so
okay.
we believe that instead of just the technical and financial matters, we should be able to inspect all the other aspects, such
Okay.
as the
I understand what
legal-
you're saying. Okay. So I will repeat what you said based on my understanding. You're saying that your understanding is Transco should be able to monitor performance.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And you agree with that in principle, that they should be able to monitor performance. NGCP agrees with that in principle, Attorney Malyari?
Your Honor, so far as it is under the concession agreement section 10.01.
Okay, so whatever that means, I don't have a copy of section 10.01, so I do not know what you are referring to. But having said that, I'm simply focusing on complied projects, 14. Non-complied, not complied, 28. No basis to assess, 40. So, to me, they have a basis to monitor performance. So unless you disagree that you have 28 non-complied projects and there's 40 of them that they have no basis to assess, then I believe it is their job to find ways to find out why this is going on. So either you verbally explain it to them, they accept the explanation, or your verbal explanation is not sufficient, so they have to find ways. As to up to what can they do, that depends on the agreement. And if you can't agree, you go to dispute resolution. In the meantime, we're stuck with this. The Filipino people have to deal with this. So we can't go on just trying to be the mediator here.
Madam Chair, I think it's the monitoring which needs to be explained. Can you monitor without being present in the project and inspecting it personally? Because you can ask them some data, some inputs for you to be able to monitor what they do. Not necessarily you being in the area, in the site, inspecting for yourself. So monitoring is a term that would not require precisely inspection. It can be done in other ways. Kasi dito kayo nagkakaroon ng diferensya. Can you imagine Transco, Madam Chair, is the owner of the transmission. Nag-aaway sila, which is very, very far from what the people expect. So, baka yung difference nila is a matter of terminology, Madam Chair. This is something that they can trace out by, meeting, siguro. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The next hearing, I need you, well, actually before the next hearing, I want you to give me a list of these non-complied projects, the explanations that were given as to why they're not complied, and your concern as to why you need a better understanding. Because if you understand it as it is, then what's your next step? You terminate? What do we do? What do we do? It's a monopoly. What do we do? Diba? So let's move on, no? Because I can't solve this for you today. So, you still have the floor. What's your other?
Madam Chair, if also we may be afforded a copy of the list, because we do not know what are those 40 items or what are the numbered items that they have mentioned. In the same manner that it will be provided to the committee, may we be furnished with a copy so that we may be able to
say, as far as you're concerned, you're not you don't necessarily yet agree with these figures?
Your Honor, to be honest, this is the first time I'm hearing those figures.
Oh, really?
Because
you didn't say anything sooner. I mean, I was waiting for you. I just assumed that tanggap nyo to. Kasi, anyway, because I was gonna go to the next slide already, which basically says, in Luzon, in fact, I don't even understand this table. Under the heading completed, you have within schedule and you have delayed. So, paano naging completed yung delayed? What does that mean?
Madam Chair, it means that there are 126 projects, 7 are within schedule, 44
are
are
delayed.
delayed. Yes.
If after that, in the same line, you have within schedule 11 and then 18 delayed. What does that mean? And one is under the heading of completed, the other is on the heading of ongoing.
Madam Chair, it means that the projects have been completed, but they actually didn't meet the correct
tapos na, but they
timeline.
did not meet the deadline.
Yeah,
Pero tapos na.
Yeah. For example, the original timeline would have been June 2024,
Okay.
but then
I understand now.
Yeah.
I understand. So when I look at this, the completed and the ongoing projects, the bulk are delayed. It's not even the majority. The bulk are delayed. Ganun na lang talaga ang buhay.
Your Honor, please,
Nakakaawa tayo, di ba?
if we may be, Your Honor, please, if we may be given the list, because I understand, for instance, for the TR flat assessment, Your Honor, sometimes their findings is busted lamp, doorknob.
No, but this okay. I
So
understand.
that is why
Yeah.
we need to understand, Your Honor.
So you don't know this? You're
yeah,
not aligned with this?
Madam Chair,
we need yes, Your Honor.
It
If we
is
may be
ba-
given the
this
list.
table is actually based on NGCP's transmission project summary report as of August 31, 2025. And the estimated time of completion for each project was approved also by the Energy ERC. So they are aware of this. This is actually the report. We're just monitoring.
Oh, it's your report daw.
Sige po.
We just summarize it to a table, Madam Chair.
Sige po. We'll look at the
No, but if
Itemized.
it's your report, the only thing I'm gonna do right now is to call another speaker. Then I'm gonna call you again because it's your report. So I'm just gonna give you a few minutes to look at that report and to explain to me, so we can also understand what the issue is.
Your Honor, if I may consult with my
Of course. So I'll call on somebody else while you do that. Okay? Yeah, please, Senator
But,
Gatchalian.
Madam Chair, I admittedly hindi ko nalagay ito dun sa proposal ko sa ERC governance reform. But one of the things that we need to update, Madam Chair, is the penalties that ERC can impose on transmission operators, distribution companies, even GenCos. Itong delay ng project ng NGCP, hindi ho ito bago. In fact, in 2024, the ERC penalized NGCP for 34 projects which are delayed. No? Pero yung penalty na inimpose nila is only 15 million pesos, no, for those delayed projects. Just to give you context, in 2024, ang net profit ng NGCP is about 17 billion pesos. And ang dividends declared nila to their shareholders is about 3.6 billion pesos. So obviously, 15 million pesos of penalty is really not commensurate to the size of the transmission operator. Kaya isa sa mga, and admittedly hindi ko nalagay ito sa bill, but I will propose to the committee during the technical working group, is to give update and give ERC the power to impose penalties commensurate to the size of the project and also the operator. Yung mga ganitong NGCP na billion po yung kanilang kinikita, dapat yung kanilang penalties hindi ho 15 million, dapat ho hundreds of millions at least para maramdaman ho nila. But then again, this is not an isolated case. Nangyari na ho to in 2024 na meron 34 projects na delayed. Kaya nagulat ho ako ngayon na dito sa report ng Transco na almost 82, not 82 but ito pala, 56% of the projects are delayed. No, 141 projects out of the 249 projects. At pag nadidelay ho yung projects, ang problema ho yan, number one, yung banta ng brownout, yellow alerts and red alerts. And then number two, obviously mas mahal po yung kuryente dahil wala tayong ibang mapuntahan kung hindi yung pong transmission na kaisa-isa, no? Kung meron pong mga alternatives, yung mga generation companies, meron silang alternatives para ipadala po yung kanilang kuryente. So, Madam Chair, at the proper time, during the technical working group, we'll propose some amendments so that we can empower ERC as the regulator para mag-impose po ng penalties. Hindi lang naman po sa NGCP, pati na rin po sa mga utilities, pati na rin po sa mga GenCos. So, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We appreciate the former chairperson's recommendations, observation, as we know he has studied this matter very carefully, and we look forward to the amendments his honor will be proposing. Thank you. So, did you want to add anything else before I go? Or you're gonna go ahead and talk to your team?
Still discussing with the team.
Okay, go ahead. So now, Miss Donna, you're done, no? You're done, so I'll proceed. So next is Attorney Rohel Teves of NPC, and then please be prepared, PISAM, then PEMC, and so on.
Yeah, good afternoon, Madam Chair, and thank you for this privilege to discuss with you the topic that was assigned to the National Power Corporation, and of course to Senator Marcoleta and Senator Gatchalian. So, Your Honors, right now, NPC is supplying electricity to over 150 or 168 areas on off-grid missionary electrification. No? Then mostly these small islands in remote mainland barangays where the private investors have not yet entered into. So we have 5 challenges. Actually, the first is there are some petitions, the recovery petitions, again, pending in the ERC. That is why the National Power Corporation is generating power at a higher cost than the approved rates of the ERC. And to bridge this gap, we are, kaya po kami nag-loan sa Land Bank of the Philippines. Then second is the ballooning outstanding unpaid power bills, especially in Basulta, the Basilan, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi area. And as of August 31, 2025, it is now estimated at around 11 billion. So, of course, the collection is hampered by so many challenges, shall I say, or issues and concern, no? By financial distress of cooperatives and some, hindi po talaga nagbabayad yung kanilang mga customers. So, yun po naman yung mga kanilang sentimiento, no? And then the third is the project implementation delays due to land and permitting issues. Ito po matagal na pong issue, no? In fact, the challenges in land titling, land classification, and acquisition are recurring across the off-grid areas. In fact, may mga nakakaranas po kami na yung isang isla, pag pinuntahan mo namin, puno ho ng mga tao, but lo and behold, pag tinignan na po namin sa DNR, yun po ay reserve areas. Just like in Itbayat, no? In Batanes Island, in Batanes area. That's one. And then dun naman po sa MGSP, isa pong naranasan namin, yung isang maliit na isla in Camarines Norte, marami pong tao, isang island barangay. But then when we check the titles, no, it is a titled island to a private person. So, yun po yung naghihinder ng aming mga proyekto, no? Then fourth is the difficulty in engaging the private sector for renewable energy hybridization and replacement of aging SPAG plants, no? Yes, while NPC is actively pursuing the hybridization of diesel plants with solar, wind, or any renewable energy technology, private sector participation has been limited. Of course, the reason is, pinaka-main reason po ng investor is the uncertainty ng kanilang balik ng kanilang pera, because we know that in the islands po, Madam Chair, yung kakayahan ng pagbabayad ng mga customer ay medyo talagang very challenging, no? Because of the poverty, no? Then the fifth is the delayed entry of the new NPPs that we have, no? Although nag-CCSP po yung mga yung mga electric cooperatives in the islands. Kaya lang po, because of some permitting issues again and some legal issues, medyo nadidelay po yung kanilang commercial operation date. And that is one reason also draining our coffer. No? Kasi po, pinaplano ho namin, but then again, ang nagiging problema pag na-delay po, so we have to adjust our budget and so on and so forth. And alam na alam po ito ni Senator Win na we are our fuel is diesel. So talaga pong madidrain po ng husto yung aming budget. So yun po, Your Honors, yun lang po yung update namin. Yung challenges and issues sa off-roads right now, Madam Chair. Thank you po.
It's kind of depressing. Wala ka man lang light at the end of the tunnel?
No, ma'am. Ganito po, Madam Chair. Actually, recently when we presented our budget to Senator Gatchalian, no, which is the chairman of the finance, the new president has this kind of program, no, to accelerate the hybridization in the island. So we will implement that in 2026 onwards, and we submitted that already, the program. But the details, Madam Chair, we will discuss it in our strategic planning this coming November 17, 18, 19. So internally, we have a plan to hybridize to 2,100 kilowatt peak, and then the other projects will be, of course, in cooperation with the private sectors. Yun po yung para ma-hit namin yung programa. Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I remember during the last hearing, I think the case of Ormeco in Mindoro, is that Ormeco or there's another one? Ormeco. NPC has an obligation of about 144 million to be paid to dun sa power producer. And I remember at that time, the President, Jericho Nograles, made a commitment that's already under process. And we were talking about how many days will it be processed. Parang biniro ko pa siya 1 week, 3 days. And he smiled, suggesting that he might just be paying on time. I checked with the power producer. Wala pa eh. And the indication is you will be paying in installment. Alam mo, nagdudugo na rin sila eh. You know, the reason why nangyayari ito is that NPC is failure to pay. Kasi, alam nyo, hindi naman mahaba ang PC ng mga power producers eh. If you do not pay on time, like this is already 144 million, I can imagine, titipirin nila talaga yung kanilang production. So, minsan, magba-brown out siguro. So paano yun? Commitment after commitment. So why can't you pay? Meron namang yung universal charge na people keep on paying that para matulungan natin ang off-grid areas. Like kanina nga, sabi ng ating chairperson, she noted 10 electric cooperatives na isipin mo 14 pesos to 17 pesos per kilowatt hour. This is too high. Ang problema, hindi natin nagagampanan ang mga ibang duties natin. Kamukha nito, ang palagay ko, Madam Chair, ang ginagamit na panggatong doon is oil, diesel. So mahal talaga to. So the power producer keeps on paying. Wala naman siyang nakukuhang bayad mula sa NPC. So paano mangyayari rito? And the situation worsens every day. The question of the chair is, ba't ganito na lang ba tayo?
Okay, may I reply to that, Madam Chair? Okay, this is the situation on Power One, Madam Chair. I would like to update Senator Marcoleta that out of something like 14 vouchers, 11 were already approved. because myself is the one who is approving it, and it was already fully audited, and now it is now. I think the check now is being prepared. Or
Madam Chair, I'm not talking about the vouchers. I'm not talking about the approval of the vouchers. We're talking here that ERC already approved the payment to that power producer. ERC is here and probably she can confirm.
yes po,
Sinulatan na kayo, bayaran nyo na.
yes po.
Matagal na ito eh.
Yeah.
So if you talk about vouchers and approving the vouchers, that is not the one, that's not the information we want to hear.
Okay, sir. Okay po, Madam Chair. Actually, it is within the 45 days processing period, Madam Chair. So, ano pa naman
What
po
is,
siya?
bakit 45 Sino nag-institutionalize ng 45 days? Ang sinasabi natin, kawawa sila. These are off-grid areas.
Okay.
Yung madali ang po ninyong solusyon para sa kanila, makakabuti. Sabi ng ERC, 2 sulat nang na-receive nyo, bayaran nyo na sila. You insist on 45 days. Where did you get that?
Actually, that is the standard, Madam Chair.
Where
But,
did you get that standard? It's only a standard. You can pay as early as you
yes.
can.
We will do that, Madam Chair.
Sinabi na nga ng presidente ninyo eh.
Yes po.
And he indicated that he will pay on time. Kasi nga nagdudugo na yung mga tao eh. Saan nila kukunin ang panggastos nila kung di nyo sila babayaran? Unless, pag-usapan nyo ng NGCP kung paano maglalagay ng transmission line, which is again, the hardest part. So hanggang may magagawa tayo, Attorney Tebes,
Yes po.
huwag mo na sabihin yung mga voucher, magbayad ka na nga agad.
Sige po. We recognize that, Madam Chair. Actually, kausap po namin sila kahapon. Okay na po.
Ano nga pinag-usapan nyo kahapon?
Yung ano po mismo, yung paglabas po ng vouchers ay ng check po,
Ayan.
babayaran
Madam
po
Chair,
sila.
voucher na naman.
Hindi po, babayaran po sila, Madam Chair.
May I have a question. Naka-time deposit